Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
Hello and welcome to the Popternative Podcast, the podcast and talk show where we have digital discussions, the worlds of TV, film, pop culture, news, sports, lifestyle, everything really depending on the guest we talk about it all. As always, I'm your host, Peter Remoliotis. On social media, you know me as PD Beats. You'll recognize my guest, of course, as Anthony LaRusso in Cobra Kai. Season 3 is going to drop in January on Netflix. We're with Griffin Santopietro. Griffin, welcome to Popternative, man.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me.
No problem. I mean, the trailer was kind of dropped, a lot of kind of surprise, a lot of excitement. What was kind of the reaction and reception like from your family and friends when the trailer dropped, Griffin?
Oh, I thought it was really cool. You know, I've definitely talked about it with my friends once it came out. I actually didn't even, I was off my phone and then my friend texted me telling me it was out. It was a really cool trailer. I thought it was awesome.
The show kind of does a really good job of blending kind of like the new Cobra Kai characters like yourself and your sister on the show, Mary Mauser and Miguel and everyone, but also kind of blends that incorporates kind of like original kind of characters from the Karate Kid franchise. Have you like ever thought about how kind of important and cool that kind of blend of the two characters are, Griffin?
Yeah, I always found it interesting how well they incorporate like the movies and the show. And I think it's interesting how well the new characters gel with the already established characters.
Yep.
Which is I think impressive on their part.
Absolutely. We'll get more into Cobra Kai, but like specifically for you as kind of an actor and a storyteller, because that's like what I want to talk to you. I understand you kind of started at a very young age. What kind of drew you towards acting, Griffin?
I think I always watched TV a lot as a kid. And I kind of always idolized the people on the shows.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, once I learned that they weren't actually the people they were playing, and there's something called actors, and I talked to my mom about it, and it was a few years after, you know, I kind of wanted to do it when I actually started, but I started with like theater and stuff, you know, at my school, before getting into film acting.
Absolutely. I feel like that's kind of where you learn your craft, right? Like a lot of people kind of start in the theater.
Yeah. It's definitely a good
Stepping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like season 1 of Cobra Kai feels like it was such a long time ago, right? Like I just want to rewatch the seasons, but like I remember you have a line that I was talking to with my friends, like when Johnny shows up to your house and him and Danny are fighting, and then they get invited into breakfast. The line you have with Johnny, I forget what it was. That's like one of my favorite interactions.
Yeah, I remember that. It was he was asking about like ketchup, and he said, "Do you have any ketchup?" And I said, "Yeah, get it yourself, douchebag." But I remember that line. At the end wasn't there, but a producer said it would be great at the end if he just said this.
Like off the cuff, almost.
Yeah, like that.
Anthony LaRusso is definitely very interesting, and there's a kind of a lot of questions people have about your character, because it doesn't seem like you are very into what the LaRusso family is doing with the karate stuff. But it's interesting.
Yeah, I think that was an interesting way to go, is to have, you know, his son not be into karate like you would expect. Which makes it easier for me.
Absolutely. You were already part of the Netflix family, kind of with, I believe you did The Week Of with Adam Sandler and Chris Rock, where you were kind of the little DJ guy. That was really cool. But like now you're part of the Netflix family again with Cobra Kai. What is that kind of like being part of Netflix, who has such an amazing track record, putting out so many shows, Griffin?
Well, I think it's always a pretty cool thing to think about. I mean, I haven't like seen anyone again, you know. But I think it's always like a cool thing, especially since Cobra Kai wasn't originally on Netflix, you know, because when I started doing it, I never thought that I would be working with Netflix again. And I don't know, it's just really cool. You know, it was a pretty surreal thing.
A lot of people probably have, like, social media is really big. Cobra Kai is like, the fan base is incredible. The fans are amazing. I'm sure, I was just curious, like, the questions that you kind of get from fans sometimes, fan theories, they're always asking kind of the similar, like, is it always like, is Anthony going to get into karate? I guess those are kind of like the obvious questions, right? Is there anything else that people have kind of brought up, like theory or question
Um,
wise?
well, I've seen like sometimes even people I haven't talked to in a while, or just comments on like Instagram or something that are like their own what they would want to happen. Um, a lot of it starts with him like doing Cobra Kai or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Ooh.
but
I
yeah,
didn't think about that at all.
yeah, I didn't think about that either until they said it.
Well, I mean, I think the show does an amazing job of like the switch because there's moments like it kind of flip flops, right? But it's Johnny
Mhm.
and Danny LaRusso,
Right.
the rivals. But like every episode or every season, one's the bad guy, one's the good guy, one's the bad guy. Like it flip flops a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because I think we always kind of thought of Daniel Russo as the good guy in every situation. But it was really interesting because I might be remembering incorrectly. But in the first episode of the first season follows Johnny before it follows Daniel,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
which was a really interesting choice, I think.
No, absolutely. Besides kind of acting, what else is Griffin Santopietro into? Like, like, in the entertainment industry, a lot of people kind of want to wear a lot of many hats. Have you ever thought about like
Yeah.
writing, directing? Is that something that you maybe want to do down the road?
Well, definitely, I would
Yeah.
definitely be open to any of that. During quarantine, my friend and I we messed around with writing stuff. We still do it occasionally. I think it's a fun hobby. But definitely in the future of my life, that'd definitely be something I'd be able to do.
And you mentioned when you first started working on Cobra Kai, it was actually on YouTube. It wasn't on Netflix. Obviously,
Yeah.
Netflix is a bigger platform for their streaming services.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready for the storm that's going to be like this show kind of getting kind of thrown in the like on Netflix and like because a lot of people are going to watch the show. Like it's going to be crazy. How do you prepare for something like that?
Yeah, I actually never really thought of it because season two, if I remember season two was already on YouTube before Netflix.
Yeah.
So they released 2 seasons on Netflix that people have already seen, but I can't imagine what it's going to be like when they release this season that no one's seen.
Do you find it kind of interesting too that there's a lot of people that like didn't even watch Cobra Kai on YouTube and they put it on Netflix and then people kind of watch season 1 and 2 on Netflix for the first time? Like I found that was interesting as well.
Yeah, because I think it being on YouTube, it was a very like it was mainly like Karate Kid fans, people who sought out the show. But now I think Netflix is so accessible to everyone.
Absolutely.
Especially during quarantine, it was a great time for it to be released because everyone's already on Netflix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. Obviously, the Karate Kid movies were kind of before your time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like your family, your friends, your parents, I mean, what is their kind of reception of like the fact that you're part of like the Karate Kid universe, Griffin?
Yeah. Well, my mom was the one who I brought on set. Also my grandma one time. But my mom, I mean, it must have been cool for my mom to see all those people that she watched when she was young. I don't know how old she was during the time. I'm bad at that. Yeah, no, it definitely like the first season was when it was cool to talk about it with my family or people that were alive during those movies.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'd say for sure that it was a pretty cool thing.
Some characters obviously have more screen time than others, but there's a lot of character like I feel like there's a lot of kind of love in terms of like the screen time. Like a lot of characters have kind of moments and little scenes and everything. And it's funny because this Cobra Kai like universe, like there's a lot of different characters, like Anthony LaRusso, right? There's, Dimitri and there's Bert, there's all these guys. And like people have so many questions and like theories about all these different characters. Isn't it crazy how big and like multi-dimensional the Cobra Kai universe has become, Griffin?
Yeah. This is an interesting way to describe it. Is multi-dimensional. Like there are a lot of interesting characters, and not just like there. I can't really think of any throwaway character. That's just there to fill that time.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I definitely think that there's a lot of space to explore with all these new characters.
And obviously we're waiting until January, but I mean, I feel like in terms of what to expect for Cobra Kai season 3, I mean, I think the trailer kind of sets the tone for that. I feel like all the answers in terms of what we can expect, we just watched the trailer, right, Griffin?
Right? Yeah.
which is pretty crazy. Do you find that there's is there kind of like a word or kind of a feel to this, because all the Cobra Kai seasons have kind of different themes and different characters and everything. But like, is it safe to say that we're gonna definitely see like the growth of a lot of characters and kind of dive into stories? Because that's what we love about Cobra Kai.
Yeah, I would definitely say that there's going to be growth all around.
Yeah.
Even like stuff I don't know about. I just trust that the writers know exactly what they're doing, and have a clear vision.
Absolutely. And then kind of last question. I mean, what has your favorite thing been about working on Cobra Kai so far? Like I'm talking about like the last 2 seasons and this season. Like, what do you enjoy specifically about working with that cast and crew on that show, Griffin?
I would say that's actually my favorite part about working on the show is the cast and crew, because it's it's a great community to be around, especially because it doesn't feel that long ago.
Yeah.
We filmed season 1, even though it's a lot longer than I think. But what was this? The course of 3-4 years they've been here this whole time, and we've stayed connected, and I think it's a really great community. It's fun, it's fun and comforting, I would say.
Absolutely. Well, Griffin, thank you so much for taking the time and chatting with Popternative for a little bit. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was great.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're gonna wait for Cobra Kai season 3 on Netflix in January. And where can people follow you on social media to keep update with everything?
I'm on Instagram as Griffin _Santopietro. And I think I have Facebook and Twitter, but I don't really use it. So there's no, one day I'll probably start using it, maybe sooner rather than later. But as of now, I'm mainly on Instagram.
Absolutely. Seriously, thank you so much. And enjoy the ride. That's going to be season 3. It's going to be a ride, man. Like, it's going to be crazy. Absolutely. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Griffin and PD Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.